Breaking news with Based and Bougie. So today I saw some very unfortunate and just heartbreaking news online. This information really hit home. Reason being is because this happened in my home country where I'm originally from, which is Congo. So if you guys didn't know this, I'm African and I'm from Congo, which is in Central Africa. And what basically happened was on February 13th, 70 Christians were literally beheaded. They were beheaded by, you will never guess, guys. You will never guess. Actually, I'm gonna let you guys guess in the comment section who beheaded these 70 Christians. And it's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because one, the act is disgusting, and two, there's no media coverage. Well, there's never any media coverage for all the gruesome violence that's happening in Congo. But for this specifically, is a bit hypocritical that we're always talking about religious persecution here, religious persecution there, but when it comes to Christians, absolutely nothing. But before I begin, guys, you guys know the drill. If you guys want cute jewelry, you can click the link in the bio. So basically on February 13th, so it's literally 5 days ago, I'm filming this, 70 Christians were beheaded in a Protestant church in Congo, in Kinsanga. Kinsanga is like a village in Congo. So it happened at 4 a.m. Soldiers managed to get a hold of 20 people. And a couple hours after, they got a hold of 50 people. And in the middle of the night, they lined up all of those 70 people in front of a church. Like, they positioned them in front of a church and they basically beheaded all 70 people. Guys, imagine beheading 70 people. Like, what drives you to do something like that? Now, this group of people, they are actually the ADF, which is the Allied Democratic Forces, and they have ties to no other than ISIS. Yes, these group of people have ties to ISIS. I don't see Sikhs doing this. I don't see Hindus doing this. I don't see Christians doing this, but there's a certain group. Apparently, many of the Congolese people couldn't even bury their loved ones because if they did, they could have actually had the threat of them being killed. And this has been an ongoing issue here in Congo. So apparently in 2024, 355 Christians were persecuted. And in 2023, 261 Christians were persecuted. So that's roughly around 500, 600 Christians persecuted. And when you tell people that Christian persecution is a thing, they're like, oh no, it doesn't exist. No, it is a thing. It's happening all over the world. It's happening in Nigeria with Boko Haram. But it's just silence in the media, absolute silence. And I think it's just the outrage in the media is so selective. Because if it was another religion, they would have came up with all of these phobias. They would have came up with all of these terms. They would have given this, so they would have spread that info, they would have posted that information for like 2 weeks. But when it comes to Christians, it's just silence. It's like it doesn't exist. Can you guys not see that we're actually living in end times? Like, this is the end times where being a Christian will actually have you killed. It's disgusting. Now, apparently Rwanda also supported the attack. Reason being, if you guys are not aware of why there's always violence in Congo, is because most of the minerals, whether it's our phones, laptops, speakers, you name it, most of the minerals come from Congo. And what has happened is the Rwandans, they have this group, I think it's the M23. They are the people who are actually going into these Congolese villages and they're just getting children, basically forcing them into slavery, forcing them to dig mines, dig cobalts, dig all these minerals for these huge companies. I'm going to insert some videos.
This is one of the thousands of unregulated, unmonitored mines in the DRC. It's crawling with children, working like modern-day slaves. A 12-hour-long day of punishing work may earn them the equivalent of £1. Although one of the poorest countries on earth, DRC is rich in minerals. But a history of brutal colonial exploitation looks like being repeated now. And wretched whether or not, the rush is on for a mineral the DRC has in great abundance, cobalt, and it's fast becoming more precious than gold. It's a critical ingredient in lithium-ion batteries which power smartphones and laptops. An army of children are at the heart of the mining production. Wearing no shoes and in the most wretched conditions, Dorsan is ordered to retrieve the sack he's forgotten. There's an urgency now. The rains make this dangerous work even more risky, and Dorsan's told in no uncertain terms he risks a beating if he messes up again. Dorsan, with Richard beside him, have worked all day. They're 8 and 11 years old. Even this punishing work doesn't guarantee enough for food. Dorsan hasn't eaten for 2 days now. This is what helpless looks like, and he's one of the children making millions for multinational corporations in America and China whilst they suffer in squalor. For this, they'll get maybe 8 British pence a day.
Tena tunarudia. Mimi nashikia sana mkongo inauma. Mkongo inaumaka na mbavu. Inakula kinapita kile nyuma.
The tunnels are dug by hand with no supports. They frequently collapse, especially during rain. The miners climb down using holes carved in the rock and no safety equipment. This most precious of minerals is often extracted and sorted by tiny hands. They don't wear gloves or masks, yet the World Health Organization says exposure to cobalt and breathing in its dust fumes can cause long-term health problems. We visited 5 different mines across the south of DRC and found all use child workers. Monica's the youngest worker in this group at just 4. But even those barely able to walk have lost their childhoods to mining.
Now, people are probably thinking, why is Rwanda supporting this attack if they are a Christian nation? The reason why Rwanda is supporting this attack is because they know if they have influence in that area, they have influence over the minerals that they are getting paid to import to these other big corporate nations.
The eastern Congo region is abundant in gold, tin and coltan, minerals crucial for electronics and electric vehicle production. Coltan in particular is a vital component in smartphones and electric vehicle batteries. With the M23 now in control of key mineral-rich territories, the group gains access to these vital resources, funding their insurgency. Rwanda, although denying direct support for the rebels, has long been economically tied to Congo's resources, especially coltan. As the world's largest exporter of tantalum, a key derivative of Congo's coltan, Rwanda's economic growth is increasingly reliant on these minerals, which has sparked accusations of exploitations amid the ongoing conflict.
So is money over everything? Is no longer Jesus over everything, is money over everything. Now, I want to make it very, very clear. I have an iPhone, so I don't want to sit here and say I'm a hypocrite. That trading has always been a thing. Trading has existed since 300 BC. You know, different countries have always exported minerals. You know, for example, Asians, they would export spices to South Americans. South Americans would export, you know, food to the UK. Africans will export cobalt or all these minerals to make phones to the US. Trading is a universal thing. However, this violence in which it's happening in Congo, which is my country, is absolutely gruesome. I just don't understand why we can't trade peacefully. I just don't understand why these trillion-dollar companies cannot just pay these people their wages. Why does it have to be that if a young woman refuses to dig cobalt, she gets SA'd? Why is it that if a man refuses to dig cobalt, he can lose his life? I'm going to show you guys some clips of what has happened to a lot of these Congolese women.
Ile date ya le 29 c'était sawa kama shamba. Wakaanza kunibakia jele minofu ya bwanangu. Nimesabia wa kwanza, wa pili, wa tatu mpaka 12. Na wakati nimesabia 12, nimesikia kushambre, ngine watoto wangu nao wanaanza lia. Mama nikapoteza akili. Mtoto wa kwanza alikuwa na 14, mwingine alikuwa na 12. Kuna ile siku wote wakabeba mimba.
Bandera amwe bakefikaka na bameoa bwanangu jo bakenikamata kunikatakata mwili wote, kamata mai ya moto bananilunguza, so kunilunguza alinjo bote ginzi balikwaka na njo vile bote balinikamataka 12. Nikumepita siku 2 niko tuku komande Wananiacha tu pale na maiti zote, watoto wangu 7 na bwana yao, na maiti ziko tu pembeni yangu. Sasa nishituka, nikisha shtuka akili napotea.
Do you know who these men were?
Wale ni Federere, wale walitoka Rwanda.
So yeah, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because, you know, Christian persecution is a real thing. This is happening all over Africa. It's happening in Nigeria with Boko Haram. We now know it's happening in Congo, but the media is silent. It's silent. And what's so crazy is that if it was another religion, I'm not going to say the religion, but it would have been 2 weeks, they would have been talking about this. The UN would have gotten involved. Flipping Keir Starmer would have made a whole speech saying, we're gonna tackle this phobia, we're gonna tackle this phobia. But when it comes to Christians, silence. And the second reason why I wanted to make this video is because the reason why what's going on in Congo doesn't get enough media coverage is because in Congo there is no democracy. Congo is not like the UK where I can just get out my iPhone and a microphone and just film a video and post it for the world to see. In Congo, if you say anything against the government, you could literally be killed. There's so many politicians that have spoken out against government corruption, and the next day they drink tea and they're dead. Literally, it's happened in Congo. So I hope you guys can get an understanding of just how lucky we are and how blessed we are to live in the United Kingdom, where you actually have the freedom to speak out, to express your frustrations, to criticize the government. This is why I'm always parading Britain, and I'm always, you know, giving my praises to this country, because I know if I had been raised in Congo, it would have been a lot different. And I find it so fascinating that you have, you know, so much of these young children who are part of Gen Z or millennials who know what our countries are like, who knows how socialism has ruined our countries, how Marxism has ruined our countries, but yet have the nerve to sit there and say that this country that we're living in, where we have this freedom of speech, where we have this democracy, is bad and is horrible, not knowing that our lives could have been 10 times worse if we stayed back home. So this is why I'm always so grateful for the UK, and I'm always singing my praises, because I know back home is 10 times worse. I wouldn't be able to do my actual passion, which is journalism. And I also want people to understand that this socialist government, aka Labour, that's arresting people for a Facebook comment, do you guys not understand that we are slowly but surely turning into these African countries? In Africa, if you say something against the government, you will get killed. In the UK, if you say something against Labour on Facebook, you are in jail. How are we progressing? How are we progressing? No, honestly, in the next 30 years, I fear for what this country will turn into. I fear if we continue to allow socialism to invade our country, and we allow the propaganda of socialism in our education system, a lot of us will suffer. We will suffer. But anyways, guys, this really broke my heart because this is really close to home, and Christian persecution is real. But at the end of the day, Christ is and will always be the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. We may be suffering now in this planet, but on earth, we will have a special seat for holding our ground for our faith. And it's just becoming more evident every time I look on the news, whether it's things that's happening in Congo, things that's happening in Nigeria. Again, the news that I saw where a Scottish lady was arrested for praying, things that's going on Speaker's Corner, women getting slapped. Like, being a Christian is dangerous. We are living in end times. But when you say that, it's like nobody takes it seriously. And it's so shameful. But anyways, guys, if you guys want more videos like this, like and comment. Bye, guys.